Homework was DEF. We simplified radicals. So remember the perfect square chart. We have a perfect square chart. We need one of those numbers times another number that equals a radicand. Put the perfect square first, bless you, and then that perfect square turns into a number. So you have answers like 5 radical 2, or 7 radical 3, or negative 8 radical 5. Okay? We're going to build on that a little bit today. We're going to have numbers out in front, and it's no problem. It's one little extra step at the end. Okay, come on in. So radical 27, we saw that yesterday is radical 9 times radical 3.
Mr. Krieger.
Oh, thank you. Nice. And you get 3 radical 3. But remember, don't write it backwards. Don't write 3 radical 3. No? I thought that joke would go better. Okay. All right, never mind. 48 is the hard one. What's 48, somebody?
7.
16.
16.
16 times 3. 16 times 3, 16 times 2 equals 32. You get 4 radical 3. Bring your desk, please, sir. Thank you. Don't forget, if you put 4 radical 12, you're close, and you'll get 1 mark out of 2. But remember, whenever you have radical 12s or radical 8s left in your answer, that means you didn't pick the biggest one. Okay, so anytime you have radical 12 or radical 8 in your answer, you need to either reduce it again or just pick a bigger one and don't have any radical 8s or radical 12s in your answer. Capiche? Capiche. Okay, sometimes I see this. Students then turn the 4 into 2. Okay, 4 does not equal 2. The square root of 4 equals 2, but that's not square root. It's not under the radical sign, so you leave your 4s and 9s alone unless it's the square root of 4 or the square root of 9. Okay? So good job in this one. This is why I gave you the chart. Radical 125, we had 25, 50, 75. Anytime you see numbers like that, you're thinking 25 times something. So that equals 5. There's your perfect square on the chart, and that turns into a number 5. 5 radical 5 is the winner. Okay, let's do 15 questions on that sheet. So that row, go ahead and grab that sheet on the Coke stool. Okay, good talking. The first thing you guys should do on that sheet is write down the perfect squares. 4, 9, 16, 25. Everyone write that down, please. Those numbers, you need one of those numbers times another number that equals the radicand. Don't forget, the hint for big numbers is divide by 2 or 3, and usually that's good enough. One of these perfect squares will pop out at you. Oh, and the other thing, when you're done 15, I want you to create 3 questions on your own. One easy one, one medium one, and one hard one. That's obviously not on the handout. And answer it, please. Okay, so 15 questions, and then create 3 questions on your own. Okay, let's do blue. We're going to do the questions that we haven't seen yesterday. Most of them we haven't seen anyway. So radical 20 is a number on this list, one of the red numbers. I got a blue marker, but one of these numbers times another number that equals 20. 2 times 10, who cares? 2 and 10 are not on the list. One of the numbers has to be on the list. So it's radical 4 times radical 5. And if you put the perfect square first, write it down, please. Put perfect square first. This is a nice reminder. That's the number that turns into, that's the radical that turns into a number. Okay, so the square root of 4 turns into the number 2. Answer 2 radical 5. 63, know your multiplication tables. 9 times 7, which is 3 radical 7. 32, that's one of the hard ones. What is it, somebody? Anybody know? 16 times 2. Okay, so if it's not coming to you, if you're forgetting that 16 times 2 is 32 and 16 times 3 is 48, just treat that as a big number and divide by 2 and 3, and you'll get all the 32s and 48s right. Okay, and remember, now is this 8 or 4, square root of 16? Okay, you can easily put 8 there. I have made the most silly math mistakes in the world, and just check your answers. Okay, in fact, one time earlier today, I put 4 when I said 3, and it made no sense, but that's just what happens. So make sure you check all your work. If you put 8 here, that's okay, I understand 8 plus 8 equals 16, but check it again and catch it, because it's what number multiplied by itself equals 16. Okay, radical 44 is 4 times 11, so 2 radical 11. Radical 60, we haven't seen before. I don't know what it is. Somebody? What's radical 60? 6 times 10? Nope. 4 times 15. And the square root of 4 equals the number 2. So 2 radical 15. Good job. 12 is multiplication power. Thank you, elementary teachers. 3 radical 5.
6.
That's what I said. 6. That was unintentional. I was thinking 45. For some reason I was reading 54 backwards. It happens. I'm over it. And 90 is what? Haven't seen that one yet? 9 times 10. So, and don't just do that. If you do that, you've done the hardest part, but you're getting half your marks because you have to simplify the square root of 9 into 3. Okay, it's too bad we don't have any like radicals here. Yeah, I'll give you a better example of when we do some grade 11 stuff. But anyways, this is going to be, honestly, the grade 11 stuff. The grade 10 stuff is harder than the grade 11 stuff. You just have to do it 3 times and collect like terms, collect like radicals, and you know how to add and subtract radicals. So you're going to be great in grade 11. We're just learning this for now, and you guys are doing a great job. Keep on going. Let's do some group work, even though we're not going into groups. Normally, you would be in a group of 3, and you would do one question, and you would correct the other 2's questions and teach them if they need to be taught, and they teach you if you need to be taught. We will do something different. You guys are going to be Avengers. You 2 rows. You 2 rows are Harry Potter. You 2 rows, Star Wars. And you guys are going to have a vote. Are you going to be Avengers, Potter, or Star Wars? Star Wars? What do you want to be? Come on, you got to choose one. This is nice determining. Which one? Don't say Harry. Okay, paper, rock, scissors, all 3 of you. One.
Oh, are we supposed to pick the same one?
No, it's both.
Oh, I'll be Avengers.
Avengers, okay, you guys are Avengers. Oh, that doesn't hurt.
I thought you wanted us to pick different ones.
If you want to, okay, so Avengers, you go first. Everyone who's Avengers, do this one. Harry Potter. Oh, sorry, that's not red. It's green. This is green, black, blue. So Avengers, you're green. Harry Potter, you're black. Do that question, the hardest one. Arguably, maybe this one's the hardest one. Star Wars, do Radical 48, please. Okay, I love all those shows. I just watched Harry Potter series. Next off, the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Now, you guys were pretty much kids when that came out. Anybody watch those too soon and have nightmares? Because I don't think I should be showing my kids Dementors and stuff. I don't know. I know the neighbors, they show them when they're 5, 6 years old. They show everything. Avengers, Harry Potter, Star Wars, but I don't think... And we had a bad nightmare incident with Ocean already. It took months. It was terrible. But I'll figure it out. Harry Potter. Cool. You guys are Harry Potter. You're cool. You guys are cool. You guys are cool. So let's do Radical 50. Radical 50. Give me one of the Avengers. Someone do it, please. Good job. And finish it off, Black Widow. Perfect. All right. Potter. Okay, so that's your last marks. What's your first mark? Okay, good. Okay, good team. So 144, remember the hint for big numbers, divide by 2 or 3, and you get full marks. And you get the perfect square off the chart. You don't need to memorize all those multiples that we filled in the blanks. Just divide by 2 or 3, usually one will appear. And 48 Star Wars, lightsabers. 16 and 3, good job. Which equals 4 radical 3. All right, good stuff. Well, the difficulties have been rearranged, so let's do the same thing. Avengers, go ahead and do radical 27. Harry Potter, radical 32. And Star Wars, dun, 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 dun. That's Indiana Jones. That's I was wondering what the heck that was. Man, I saw Indiana Jones like 35 years ago. Why was that come up? Anyway, you got those three to do quick.
Halloween hasn't even happened.
Okay, it looks like you're done. Avengers. Hopefully, let's get a new Avenger. Radical 27, somebody? Oh yeah, you're an Avenger over there. Good job. Radical 9 and Radical 3 equals. Gentlemen, thank you. Pardon? Okay. Good job. Harry Potter, you got Radical 32. How about a new Harry Potter? That's you two. Anybody?
Radical 16, radical 2.
Perfect. Which equals?
Radical 2.
Perfect.
Actually did it.
Star Wars. Now that we got the theme song. Da, 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 da. No, that's in G.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it was right.
Da, 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 da. Okay. Star Wars. Save me. Save them from my musical pain. Anybody? 121 times 2. Perfect. Finish it off, somebody. 11 radical 2. Good. Awesome. Okay, this is perfect. So, in grade 11, you're going to be adding these together. So, there'll be 3 questions in one, and that's going to be the hard part. Okay, because now you're going to add these, and you're going to add radical 2's together. 4 radical 2 plus 11 radical 2 equals 15 radical 2. And you're just going to collect like radicals, add the numbers, keep the letter, just like you're adding x's and y's. So adding, subtracting, no problem. This is the hard part between adding and subtracting. You're doing it in grade 10. But it's not that hard. Okay, you're going to have homework. I'm going to give you homework to do at the end of the class, 15 minutes. You're going to have tons of time. Yeah. You're talking about Harry Potter again. What's the girl's name? Hermione? I can never say it. What is her name? How do you say it properly?
Hermione.
Hermione?
Hermione.
Hermione?
Hermione.
Harmony.
Her.
Harmony. I thought it was Harmony. It's not Harmony though.
Hermione.
Hermione. How do you say that? I don't know. You know who's a great actor in that show? I always call him Snake, but I think it's Snape.
Wait, what were we talking
He's a good
about?
actor. God bless him. He went to heaven last year, I think. So let's actually have a prayer. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, man, let's pray for anybody we know in heaven, and anyone who's lost a loved one recently, that their heart heals, and we pray that everyone has the knowledge that we'll see them again, and that they are celebrating with Jesus and the saints in heaven. Amen. Amen. Okay, we're going to try these. to introduce what's coming up next, and it's not a big deal. It's just, this is the first time we've had a number in front of the radical. When we have a number in front of the radical, we just leave it. Even though we see it first, we don't do it first, we do it last. So we just continue to split up the radical. So everyone try out 192. No one knows what times what equals 192. So use the hint. Try to figure it out on your own before we talk about it in 30 seconds. This is on page 14, example 3. Anyone find it? 64 times? Okay, nobody knows 64 times 3 equals 192. But your calculator does. So use your calculator, and you're going to be happy, happy, happy. Now the next thing we do is exactly what we would do if there was no 2 there. So just ignore the 2. But you can't leave it. You still have to bring it down. Sorry, I'm going to change colors to show you the 2 just goes down. And the square root of 64 is 8, radical 3. Now, what do you think? You think you add them or multiply them? Okay, good job. So 2 times 8 is 16 radical 3. That's what we'll be doing today. Quite a few questions with numbers in front of them. I'm not going to give any steps yet. We're going to get a whole section on that. So that's introducing it. If you have a number out in front, you just leave it out in front and multiply it at the end. So you're just going to multiply 2 times 8 and you have a calculator. So it's really no difference. Just don't forget, do it at the end. Don't do it at the beginning. B is a fraction. So write down the fraction, 3/4, and break down the radical in the numerator. Okay, just like 8 is 8 over 1, the number x is x over 1. A radical by itself is radical 160 over 1. It goes in the numerator. Anybody have a quick guess on what numbers would be 160?
80.
Good try. 81 though we need, not 80. Close. What number on the list for 160? Yeah, 16. Good job. 16 times 10. Why do we know that works? Because we can't simplify the radical 10 any further. So break that down. Then next step, put the 3 over 4 again. Numerator, denominator. Square root of 16 equals 4. Radical 10. And then you multiply the top times top and bottom times bottom. Now, we're not doing dividing radicals, but you can only divide numbers with numbers and radicals with radicals. So you can do this. You can cancel a radical with a number. You'll hear that many, many times in grade 11. But you can divide 12 divided by 4, which equals 3 radical 10. Now myself, I would have canceled the 4s and got 3 radical 10 one step earlier. I don't care how you do it. Either reduce first or multiply and then reduce. There's more advantages to reducing first, but it's usually not a big deal. It takes 5 extra seconds if you do it the other way. So whatever your brain feels like doing, that's fine. The final answer is 3 radical 10. C, we saw this once yesterday. Try to figure out what to do. You're either going to get 2 out of 2 or you're going to get 0. There's only one thing to do here. Try to figure it out. I'll give you 52 seconds. Okay, so this is what you do, but this is where no marks. This is just rewriting the question. Does anybody see anything to do here? You got to do something. Owen? Perfect. You're only the second person who said that today. Yep, square root of 9 equals 3. That's it. That's all you can do. If you don't do that, you're going to get 0. Because you can't make up any math. Yes, sir. Because you can. It's on the list. It's a perfect square, and these don't divide into each other, so that's all we can do. And believe it or not, that's full marks. Okay, now we go to a small little section. Middle section being entire radicals. This is in the curriculum. I have to teach you this. It's a question I'm hardly ever going to ask you. Okay, phones away, please. If I ask you to put entire radicals, you have to do what we're doing now. It's like, and the only time you do wavy equal signs is the only time when I ask you to estimate. That's the only time you do that. If you do this 18 times on a quiz, you're going to get 17 of them wrong. I'm not going to ask you 18 of these. Okay, entire radical, it's a rare question. I'm going to ask you once or twice or thrice. That's it, depending on how big it is. But by the way, you guys have a quiz tomorrow on not this stuff, not rational estimating, just on simplifying radicals. Stuff we did yesterday, started today, and we're going to do ones that have numbers in front of them today. Okay, so that's quiz tomorrow as soon as we get here. Okay, if you want to, you can remind yourself that entire radicals are entirely under the radical sign. And this is a question we saw for one of those first 15 questions that we did. Well, this is just going to be the reverse or the opposite of that. Opposite of what we just did of numbers 1 to 15 in the handout. So instead of breaking down radical 20 into 2 radical 5, I'm going to give you 2 radical 5. You're going to turn the number into a square root, and then you're going to multiply the square roots together. So in a way, it's like I'm giving you the answer, and you have to give me the question. Usually that's the question, that's the answer. Now it's going to be reversed. Okay, so when I ask you, in fact, look at that. It's telling you the same question I'm doing right now. Oh well. So I'm asking myself 2, we need to put it under a radical sign. Radical 5 is already a radical, so we leave it. 2 is the square root of what? 4. And now you just multiply them together. Radical times a radical equals a radical. Okay? So do B, and then we'll correct, and then by the time we correct B, hopefully everyone can do C perfectly. This is only if I ask for entire radicals. Go ahead and do B. Take 99 seconds. 4 radical 7. Turn that into an entire radical, which means everything has to be entirely under the radical sign. So 4 is the square root of what? Pardon? 16, and then you just multiply them together. Is that 112?
Yes.
70 plus 42? Okay, next. Do C. Do it perfectly. Full marks. This is a rare question. You're not going to be doing this a lot for me. Only if I ask for entire radicals. If I say simplify, you do not do this. Simplify means break them up into a perfect square times another number, and then turn the perfect square into a number. Okay, so break it up. You want this number to turn into a square root. So 10 is the square root of what, everyone? Good job. And then just multiply them to get kind of a fun answer. Radical 600. That's it. Full marks. Don't do anything. Don't break it down and then get 10 radical 6, because I'd have to dock marks off. you can't give me the question back when I ask you to do something. If you did that and left it like that, well, I got to take half your marks off because it tells me you're not sure what you're doing. It's ask for entire radical. Stop it when you get an entire radical. Okay, next. In fact, I'm not going to go up with this one because we're going to do the same thing. This one says without using the calculator. So if it says without using the calculator, it's an entire radical question. So write that down. Use entire radicals. So you're going to do exactly what we did. And the number line works the same thing with radicals. Radical 20 is less than radical 112. Radical 112 is less than radical 600. Okay? So this time I ask us to order it from greatest to least. Next time they might say the opposite, so read the question carefully. The first one, 3 is the square root of 9. Multiply those together to get radical 45. Okay, do this one. This one's already done for you, and do this one, and then order it like they asked, please. I'll give you 3.5 minutes to do that. Okay, let's do 5 radical 3 is square root of 25 times radical 3. That's radical 75. This one is already an entire radical. And this one is the square root of 4 times the square root of Frosty. So square root of 32. Now, who can answer the question that they asked us? I'm going to put therefore. 3 dots means therefore. It's more of a scientific abbreviation, but I like it. Therefore, what order do they go in? Let's pick on Tegan.
5 radicals.
Oh, he's right again. Yes, good job, Tegan. You have to, the question is to order these black radicals, not the ones in red. Okay, so the question is to order the original radicals, so that's the ones you have to put from highest to lowest. So 5 radical 3, keep on going, Tegan.
3 radicals.
Good job, yep. Next.
2 radicals 8.
Good. Okay, most people don't do that the first time. I wouldn't have either. But you have to write this down, arrange the original radicals. Otherwise, you're going to lose a half mark, or 25% of your marks. Okay, so that's important. And again, next time I can ask you to go lowest to highest, you just got to read the question. If it doesn't say without a calculator, okay, it's taping. If it doesn't say without a calculator, then just punch in your calculator, 3 times radical 5, and see what decimals are the biggest. But you still have to arrange the original radicals, not the decimals. Okay? Okay, more homework. Again, you'll have 15 minutes at the end of class, which is a lot of time. Anybody have still writing this? Let me know when I can erase. Good? Okay. Okay, let's go to where we have our numbers in front of our radicals. And we're simplifying, so let's do 5 of these together, and then you can go back into your superhero / galactical / Hogwarts school groups. Okay, so we have a number in front of 75. We already talked about this once. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to bring number down, and we're bringing it down twice, and multiply the number at the end. So we see a 4 here, we ignore it really. We just ignore it till the end. At the end, we multiply the other number by 4. First step is to break up the 75. Okay, so we know that 25 times 3 is 75. Again, ignore the 4, just bring it down. I don't think I can do that. It would be nice if I could. But one marker in my hand at a time. And now the square root of 25 is 5 radical 3. And don't forget, you multiply those numbers together. This means 4 times radical 75, So it means 4 times 5. Okay? One more thing before I forget. Do not square root the 4s. Do not square root the 4s. Okay? This one and this one, you leave as 4. Again, just because you see a 4 and a 9, or look at one, 16, doesn't mean you square root it. You only square root if it's a square root of 16. So leave that as 16. Leave this one as a 4. Sure, I'll use red. And then break up radical 27 into 9 times 3. Leave the 4 again in front. Square root of 9, you know, is one number times itself 2 times equals 9. And then multiply red guy and black guy gets 12 radical 3 guy. Any questions on those two? It's exactly the same that you were doing all day yesterday and what you did today, number 1's to 15, except for you have a number in front of it, so you multiply that number at the end. It's a little tricky because you see that number first, you do it last. Okay, I see this 2 here, I do it last. I can bring the 2 down twice right away. It's the radical 243 I got to break down. Somebody? Yep. Bad boy. Justin says 81 times 3. Square root of 81 is 9. And then 2 times 9 is 18 radical 3. So in this case, the perfect square is going to be the middle number. And the middle radical turns into a number. And then you multiply the numbers together. Okay, 2 more together. And let's use a different color. Let's leave the 8 here. And radical 32 breaks up into what one? That's the hard one. What's 32? And 48? 16. Good job. 16 times 2. That looks weird. It is weird. You have to know what to do with weird. You just bring down the blue 8. That's it. Don't even worry about the blue 8 yet. It's the square root of 16 you have to turn into 4. Once you do that, weirdness goes away and it just becomes a normal multiply numbers and keep a radical at the end. So 32 radical 2. B. Do you square root the 16? Nope. You leave it. We saw 128 yesterday. What is it? 64 times 2. Square root of 64 is 8. And what's 16 times 8? Is it 128? 80 plus 48. 128 radical 2. Same thing. Bring down the red 16 until the end, and then multiply the 2 numbers together. Only you can multiply numbers with numbers. Again, grade 11, you'll learn you can only multiply numbers with numbers and radicals with radicals. Okay, you got 3 more to do. You got 4 or 5 minutes to do those. We'll say 5 minutes, and then homework time. Okay, I have a riddle. You'll never guess what student in this class this is about. Ready, set, go. He's an Avenger. Avenger, ugly Christmas sweaters. Look at that. I like them.
I was gonna take it off too, but I still think I keep wearing it.
I like them a lot. And the problem we've had with Avenger stuff between me and my son is that for some reason Spider-Man isn't on a lot of them, which is really hurtful. And Spider-Man and Iron Man are the best ones. Anyways, let's get rid of that and go to, nope, nope, that. Okay, we have these three questions. And coincidentally enough, we're going to start with the Avengers. So Avengers, you two rows or that row. Someone start, tell me what to write for the first line. Times. Radical. Yep. Good. Okay, hold on. I need another teammate. First of all, everyone say radical 2. Everyone say root 2. It's the same thing. I say radical. I think I've never heard Mrs. Kira say anything but root. I've never said root. It's just, it means the same thing. Okay, that's another Avenger. Second line. Come on, team. Be a dream team. Gotta work together. Otherwise, you can't defeat those bad guys. Thank you. Good. Well done. And last Avenger, finish it off. Final answer. Somebody. No, you did it already. Don't break up the team. 15 radical 2. Good job. All right. So again, the only difference is you carry this 5 down and then multiply it at the end. That's it. That's it. That's it. No other difference. Okay. Pata and Hermione, how do you say it? Hermione? 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 That's it? Oh. I just gotta see the spelling. Okay, so Harry Potter. Somebody, one person do the first step. You two. Rose. 16. Times radical 7. Well done. Another one from the Hogwarts game. Anybody? Next step. Next step.
16.
Yeah.
50.
Close. Multiply. Multiply. Not add. What do you think it is now? What number multiplied by itself equals 100? Good job. Last one. Go on, Dream Team. One more. Thank you, Julio.
160.
Perfect. Okay, so you can see there's 3 steps here. It's exactly what we did yesterday. These is exactly what we did yesterday. One extra step is to multiply 16 times 10 equals 160. That's it. All right, Star Wars. Ooh, that's the hardest one I could give you. Anybody want to start it? Good. Perfect. Star Wars number 2. Show Princess. Good. Good job, Ray. And lastly, good job, Obi-Wan. You're like 1,000 years old. Okay, awesome. Go ahead and do the rest for homework. You have a quiz on this stuff tomorrow. Ones with no numbers in front and ones with numbers in front are the main things. There's no estimating, there's no rational, irrational, no number systems on the quiz tomorrow. That's going to be on the quiz probably on Monday. So that's the lesson day.